I have always believed that the most persuasive man is often the quietest, not because silence alone has power, but because in silence lies listening. And listening, my friend, is the true foundation of wisdom, persuasion, and leadership. You may think power belongs to the man who speaks longest, who dominates the conversation with eloquence and authority. But time and again, I have seen the quiet listener hold the greater strength. Why is this so? Because the man who listens learns. The one who listens gathers the thoughts, feelings, and motives of others. The speaker reveals himself, but the listener receives. And knowledge, more than oratory, is the coin by which influence is purchased. Early in my career, I often sat in meetings where men older and richer than I spoke at length. They sought to impress one another with their opinions, to show brilliance by speaking. I, with little status and less wealth, could contribute little of substance. So, I listened. I listened with care. I listened with intent. And in that listening I discovered truths they themselves overlooked. For in their eagerness to talk, they revealed not only what they knew, but also what they feared, what they hoped, and what they misunderstood. By listening, I knew them better than they knew me. This habit of listening gave me an advantage. When at last I spoke, I did not need to speak often, nor loudly. My words carried weight because they were informed by the words of others. Listening sharpened my understanding and made my speech scarce and valuable. The man who speaks little, when he does speak, compels attention. There is another reason listening is powerful. It disarms opposition. Many quarrels are fueled not by the disagreement itself, but by the desire to be heard. A man who feels ignored becomes defensive. A man who feels understood becomes receptive. I learned this truth many times in negotiations. Often I found that when I listened carefully and repeated back what the other man had said, he softened at once. He no longer felt the need to fight me, for he saw I respected him. From there, persuasion flowed naturally. Listening is also the truest path to friendship. Men will forgive many faults, but they seldom forgive being ignored. When you listen sincerely, you offer the greatest compliment. You value another's thoughts enough to receive them. This is why people are drawn to good listeners. They feel important, valued, recognized. And when they feel such, they give loyalty freely. I recall an occasion when a young clerk approached me with a suggestion. Others might have brushed him aside as too inexperienced, but I listened. He spoke nervously, stumbling over his words, yet I gave him my full attention. His idea, though rough, contained a seed of genius that later saved our company a great expense. Imagine if I had dismissed him. A leader who does not listen loses not only knowledge, but also the trust and creativity of his men. You must also understand that listening is not merely remaining silent. It is active. It demands focus, patience, and humility. It means putting aside your own eagerness to reply, to show off your cleverness, and instead devoting yourself wholly to understanding another. Many pretend to listen while preparing their own next remark. That is not listening, that is waiting. True listening means surrendering your mind to another for a moment, allowing his words to shape your thoughts before you shape a reply. The greatest listeners are also the greatest learners. I made it a rule to ask questions of everyone I met: engineers, laborers, financiers, even rivals. Each man knew something I did not, and by listening, I acquired knowledge no book could teach me. Often it was the simplest men who taught me the deepest truths, for they spoke plainly of realities others dressed in rhetoric. By listening broadly, I gained wisdom beyond my own experience. There is power, too, in listening to silence. Not all communication is spoken. A pause, a hesitation, a glance away. All speak volumes. By listening beyond words, I discerned truths men dared not say aloud. This gave me foresight and guarded me against many costly errors. Now you may ask, how does listening apply to your own success? I tell you plainly, it is indispensable. If you wish to persuade, listen. If you wish to lead, listen. If you wish to learn, listen. Speak only after you have gathered enough knowledge that your words will be received as rare and precious, not common and cheap. Restrain the impulse to interrupt. Let others exhaust their speech. They will tell you everything you need if you allow them the space. When you reply, do not aim to impress with your brilliance, but to connect with their concerns. Show that you heard, that you understood, and that your response grows out of their own words. This is how persuasion works, not by overpowering, but by harmonizing. In every relationship, business, friendship, family, the man who listens holds the key. He is trusted, he is confided in, he is sought after. Others think him wise, not because he knows everything, but because he allows them to share their thoughts freely. In reality, wisdom is often less about knowing what to say than about knowing when to stay silent. Listening has one more great reward. It cultivates humility. The more I listened, the more I saw how much there was to learn. This kept me from arrogance and reminded me that every man, regardless of station, has something to teach. And that humility, in turn, made me a better leader. So I say to you, learn the power of listening. Speak less, listen more. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Train yourself to hear not only the words, but the spirit behind them. Make every conversation an opportunity to gather wisdom, to win trust, to deepen connection. Do this, and you will possess a power greater than force, greater than eloquence, the power of listening. It will win you friends, allies, and knowledge. It will save you from errors, open doors to opportunity, and grant you influence wherever you go. Remember, the world is full of men eager to speak. Be the rare one who listens, and you will find yourself master of both silence and speech.